Hi, I'm Joe.
I'm Joe's mom.
And we're
Eastside
Eastside Vibes. Today we're talking about. So, I've been saying we should get into J. Cole for a while, just because we're like diving into like hip hop music, and he's considered one of the premier artists in hip hop.
Okay.
I assumed at some point we were gonna go back to one of his older albums, and we'll do that for sure. But he randomly had this album come out last week.
Yes.
And I'm sure you've seen everything that's been going on about it online. If you're like into like pop culture and hip hop, you would have seen. And a lot of this album is meant to be a response to Kendrick Lamar, like sort of dissing him on this Future song that came out a few weeks ago.
Right.
Which, if you listen to that song, I don't think that he's like referencing J. Cole that much. I mean, he does a little bit, but it's mainly more about Drake.
It seems like what I read about it, or what I even through the whole like album, it's really a lot more about how he's the greatest, like how he's the greater one, and that seems like what the supposed riff was supposed to be.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know if he had this. I'm wondering if this was a planned project or not, because he is known for kind of dropping stuff randomly. Like, he'll do that.
Okay.
And usually he'll do it before he has like a big album or something coming out.
Okay.
And I'm sure you heard references throughout this album to the Fall Off.
Yes.
Which is an album that's supposed to come out. It's supposed to be maybe one of his last albums.
Oh.
And I think it's supposed to come out like this year.
Okay.
So I'm pretty sure it's like the last record he has like with like RCA as a distributor. So like maybe that has something to do with it.
Could be.
But he kept referencing, so that's what makes me think that like this was sort of planned, like he was gonna put this out.
Okay.
But he changed it when the whole Kendrick thing came on. I wonder if you noticed. To me, it feels a little rushed at times in a way.
Definitely.
Like the quality is still there from him as a rapper, from him being J. Cole, but compared to his other stuff, it doesn't feel as like planned out. And you don't.
No, I don't know his other stuff.
Yeah, you don't know his other stuff, but I'm sure you've heard like that's how his music is supposed to be. But yeah, anyway, so this album, I don't think I've said it yet. It's called Might Delete Later.
I do love the album title.
Yeah.
And
he did already delete one of the songs.
You know what? Now that I think about it, the title hit.
So maybe the whole thing was a plan.
Could be.
We can kind of get into it more later.
Funny.
I wonder if like everything about the Kendrick beef and all of it was
planned.
Was just sort of marketing, which it's smart if that is the case.
Correct.
But anyway, like always, we're going to get into some of our favorite songs and then talk about how we feel about this album as a whole at the end.
With our new layout that we have, our new layout.
Yeah, with our new layout, we switched up like our setting a little bit this week. So the first song we picked is one of my picks. It's called Pricey, and it has Ari Lennox, Gucci Mane, and Young Dro in it. This is one of those. There's a couple songs on this album that I like that are like this, where it doesn't really feel like a J. Cole song.
You said that.
Like compared to his other music, he doesn't really make music like this for the most part.
Yeah, you said that.
He actually. So there are artists on his label named like Earth Gang is one of them who makes this kind of music.
Okay.
So he's kind of like connected to it, but I've never heard of him because Pricey has like it has a little bit of a West Coast feeling, but I'd say more like Southern, like really relaxing, like almost like gospel-y trap music. One thing about Pricey is, like, even though J. Cole's good on it, I think he might be the least engaging artist on the song, which is interesting. And usually, like, J. Cole is a very, I'm sure you noticed throughout this record, he has a very commanding, like, presence and voice.
Yes, we talked about the fact that, like, for me, I like clear lyrics, and, like, Eminem does that, and he does that, too. It's, you really know what he's saying, and it's very clear.
I would say he raps that way on this song, but it just doesn't, like, hit as much as it does on other kinds of instrumentals.
Right.
My favorite part about Pricey is the chorus from Ari Lennox.
Okay.
I think she has like a really good voice. I liked her album a lot, which came out like near the end of last year. I know you love R&B, so
Right. I had to keep looking back at it because I'm like, Annie Lennox is doing this
No,
with him, and I'm
Ari
like,
Lennox.
what?
Yeah.
Okay.
it would be cool if it was Annie Lennox.
I know. Hey. Woo.
But I also think Young Dro and Gucci Mane like sound better on this
Yeah.
kind of instrumental than
Yep.
J. Cole does, which is interesting.
Mm-hmm.
It is good though, and lyrically, like any J. Cole song, like it's good. There's a lot of interesting references in there.
Mm-hmm.
He's kind of talking about how his lifestyle has gotten so extravagant from how big he's gotten.
Right.
Basically,
Right.
the song's called Pricey. And
The whole album's like that.
like, well, it's a little bit. This song's a little bit about like sticking to your roots while
Mm-hmm.
you make that kind of money.
Mm-hmm.
Like they're talking about like not like buying designer clothes necessarily.
Right. Just
and-
because you have the money.
yeah, just because they have the money. So that's how this album starts out. And as we get like farther and farther, it gets more like braggadocious.
Oh, very much so. Very much.
Which is also interesting for J. Cole because he's not really known. Like
That's what you said.
Yeah, I was trying to like say that to you. He's not really known for doing that. And if this is the first thing you listen to him of, you're probably like, oh, this is all this guy does.
Yeah, because when we talked
about how
about
great
it,
he
I
is.
said it's very braggadocious, the
Yeah.
whole album. Yeah.
And he usually doesn't do this kind of thing. So
Okay.
it is a little, I don't know, it's interesting that he went this route with this kind of album.
Mm-hmm.
The second song we picked is Crocodile Tears.
Mm-hmm.
And that's one of my mom's picks.
And yours as well.
Yeah, I probably would have picked this one if she didn't pick this one.
Mm-hmm.
As you can see, I thought this album started very strong. Like I
Okay.
really liked the first two songs.
Okay.
Then after that, like, I'm not saying I disliked it, but like after that, like I feel like the vibe changed.
Okay.
For sure. But anyway, I'll let you get into like why you like Crocodile Tears so much.
Okay. Brought my glasses this week. So for me, what I said about musically, I like the horns and the piano intro to it. I think that's really cool.
It reminds me of like Braveheart.
Yeah, you said that.
Yeah.
Bagpipes.
Yeah, like just like warning sounds from like a war in medieval times.
Yep,
Like,
and then it said the drums come into it too. So yeah, that's a
Yeah.
really good point. Like they're coming 100%. Again, in this one he talks about how he's the greatest in hip hop industry. I mean, this is where I felt he was really starting to brag a lot. He also is speaking to those who owe him favors, but have never returned. Like he has done so much for them, but they've never returned the favor.
Yeah.
But in most of those cases, it has to deal with money. It's not necessarily things he's done.
What's a little interesting about that is, do you know who Nardwar is? Have you ever seen his videos?
No.
You would like him. He's a really cool like interviewer of musicians.
Okay.
He's been around for a really long time, and he's known for asking questions that are kind of like off the cusp, where it's like you don't know why this guy would know about that.
Okay.
And even getting like negative reactions from some people
Okay.
because they're like, why would you know about like my mom's name or something?
Oh, okay.
Like that kind of thing. And I remember he did an interview with J. Cole like years ago where he basically brings up how J. Cole apparently mentioned Kendrick's name to Dr. Dre, because the way that Kendrick got big is TDE got like signed by the Aftermath Records.
Yeah.
And that's how like all those artists like on that label got big. And apparently Kendrick or J. Cole must have known who he was.
Mm-hmm.
And he like told Dr. Dre, he's like, this guy from LA, like sign him.
Oh, he told Dr. Dre to sign Kendrick?
So Nardwar
interesting.
Nardwar asked him about this in an interview, and J. Cole kind of looks at him like, how did you know that? Because like he's never said that before to anyone in an interview.
Good researcher.
So, but like I feel like this is a reference to that.
Okay.
He's kind of saying like, I put you on, dude. And
So he's calling out Kendrick in this one, too.
yeah, no, I think he definitely is.
Okay,
100%. And like what's interesting, like just on a side note, so Drake kind of has like a similar like claim to that because Kendrick opened for Drake on his like tours in the late 2000s.
Okay.
like in his first couple albums, Kendrick
Mhm.
opened for him multiple times.
Yeah.
And Kendrick was on a couple like big Drake songs in the beginning
Okay.
as a feature.
Okay.
So like Drake like 100% helped Kendrick's
Kendrick.
career too.
Oh boy.
And you could say that he surpassed both of them in a way. So
Yeah, he wasn't in the Super Bowl. Drake. You
yeah,
had Kendrick
neither
in there.
was J. Cole.
Yeah. Yep. Exactly.
So but yeah, I feel like anyway, like getting back to the point, I think this song is literally referencing like you know, Kendrick or J. Cole telling Kendrick, like, hey, dude, remember, like, where you came from, you know, like you wouldn't be here without me.
Yep. I wouldn't have even known that. I wouldn't have known that at all. I said I had, like, I think there are lyrics that he has that just, like, nail it for me. Like, there's some that he has.
Yeah, he's known for that.
And so, like,
I could show you, like, older songs where it's, like, even better.
So in this one, I have to, like, do a thing. It says, they get F'd 112, you couldn't do numbers. Hey, tell me label, I got all A's throughout math. That means I'm keen on numbers and I can count fast. You know it's money that you can owe me. And so when I saw that, it was, to me, it was that I think sometimes people think that when people get popular and with all this money, they don't really catch on to the fact of what they're loaning people and stuff. And he's saying, look, dude, I got A's in math. I know how to count money fast. I know what you owe me.
Kind of like this whole Otani thing going on with his interpreter.
Oh.
Like how he took all the money.
Oh my gosh. That's a baseball reference in case you didn't know.
But yeah, it's like J. Cole is definitely saying like he knows like who he helped. And,
yep. And I know my numbers. He's got like a ledger.
One thing I want to say quick about this song before we move on, I really like the way the instrumental builds on this.
Definitely.
I think it's cool.
Definitely.
Like it gets more like powerful as the song progresses because of like eventually the bass is like huge and the beat is pretty like you know hard.
Right.
But like it doesn't start that way. It starts off almost like calm.
Yeah, it's like I'm
melancholy.
The greatest, I'm good, and then all of a sudden it's like you owe me. You know,
well,
I gave you all
he
this.
gets more intense with his rapping too as the song goes on.
Yes, definitely.
But yeah, that's Crocodile Tears. The next song we picked is one of my picks. It's Fever, and this is like by far like the most like random song on the album.
Yeah, I would have to say I like forgot about that song. Yeah.
But in my opinion, it's probably the best song on the album, which is like weird. Like I could see this one becoming big.
Okay.
Like being big, like in like the clubs and stuff, and you don't even like think about that much. That's by J. Cole because it doesn't sound like him that much.
Right. Are there any songs off this album that have like hit already that have become like good singles or no?
Well, I mean, it just came out, but I guess 7 Minute Drill until it was deleted.
Mm-hmm.
But I think that Fever will. I saw a couple other people that I know who are into J. Cole saying they actually really like this one. It shows a completely different like side to him.
Okay.
Feels a little bit almost like reggaeton or like tropical music.
Yes.
And I don't think I've heard J. Cole like sing like this on a song very often. And he does a pretty good job.
Right.
And I know like for someone that like if you're looking for lyrics and stuff, like this just isn't that.
No, this isn't. This isn't.
But he's kind of like showing that he can do like what everyone else is doing, and he's pretty good at it.
Right.
Like this is as good as anyone who makes this kind of music, in my opinion. Mm-hmm. And like I said, I think it's going to end up being a hit. I don't have like a ton to say about it because it's not like a really I don't know. There's not like something like super engaging about it. Like the lyric, he's just like a love song to some girl that he met on tour.
Yep.
Yeah, that's all it is. There's no like super like witty lines or anything.
No.
His flow was really good on it. The instrumental is just fun. It kind of makes you like think of like the beach or something.
Yes.
And yeah, that's kind of all I had to say about Fever. I just think it's I don't know why it's thrown into this album, especially in like a 12-song album. Mm-hmm. You know, it does feel very random and not out of place almost.
Right.
But I also think it's good for what it is, so I wanted to like shout it out.
Right. Well, and you also mentioned too that like I think the first song was like different than what he's done in the past, so maybe he's just trying to sample different like types of music.
I wonder if this mixtape was sort of just like one-off like songs that he's made, or at least a couple of these. because for some of it, if this feels like it flows with a sound and a lyrical theme, and like for other ones like this and and like you mentioned another one I pick's Pricey, don't feel like they fit in that much.
No.
They're kind of random.
Yeah.
And I would say Pie also does not feel like it fits that much.
Right. I agree.
These just must be songs that he just like had, and he thought they were pretty good, and he wanted to put them on some project.
I could see that.
But yeah, that's Fever. The next song we picked is Sticks and Stones, and it's produced by Alchemist, and I would say it definitely sounds like it's produced by Alchemist.
Okay.
I don't know if like you probably don't know Alchemist that like well the name, but I think you like music that's been produced by him in the past, like that kind of rap music.
Okay.
So yeah, but this was one of your picks, so I'll let you talk about it.
So what I said about Sticks and Stones, I love the intro. Just like I really like it.
It's very like Alchemist-y.
That's Alchemist-y.
Yeah.
Okay. The one thing is that Alchemist at the beginning saying, "Are you guys ready?"
No, I think that's I think that's like some DJ or something.
Yeah, because it reminded me of
it's like a sample from
like
something.
Let Me Clear My Throat, because they like say that at the very, very beginning of there. So I was wondering if that was like part
it's like
of it.
some live show from something.
Yeah, exactly. Let's see. Again, great lines for me in this one. Sticks and stones may break your bones, but saying my name in a verse will kill. So obviously, again, that whole, hey, if you say who I am, that's going to do good for you. So like you're saying, if he was the one who helped find Kendrick Lamar, it's kind of like, hey, if you say my name, it's going to make you better. Or to anybody else, you drop my name, it's going to make you a better artist in the hip hop world. So that was really braggadocious to me on that one too. But I really did like it. The beat to me was different than the other ones. It was almost kind of like this kind of beat.
This one feels a lot more. I think when I wrote about it, I said it feels a lot more J. Cole-y.
Okay.
Like
okay.
This, like out of everything on this album, I think this and like maybe that Trade the Truth one, Trade the Truth and Ibiza.
Okay.
Those songs feel the most like what I would like imagine J. Cole's music to sound like.
Well, then I would have to say I like that, like because I liked this song.
Like this is definitely one of the most J. Cole sounding songs.
And I was telling him that when I was going through trying to pick my favorite songs, I kept picking different ones. I had to keep going back and listening because they were so interesting. To me, they were interesting.
Yeah, that means you like it for sure.
Yeah.
But yeah, that makes me want to like go back and listen to some J. Cole with you because this reminds me of like one of his albums, and when I wrote about it, I'm like, I know that his biggest fans, like this will probably be their favorite song on the album.
Okay.
Because of it, the way he flows in it, because of like the instrumental, and
maybe this is the one that will be like the first hit or something. Who knows?
I don't think this will be like a hit like for the general public, but I think it'll be a hit for like
the J.
his
Cole
fans. Like his fans, this will be their favorite song. Okay.
I did like it. That's like you said, if that's how he is when he raps, I'm in.
Like I could play a couple songs, like maybe I will after this, that remind me of like this style of like rapping.
Okay.
But anyway, yeah, that's Sticks and Stones. The next one we picked is Pie with Ab-Soul and Daylight. And I think it's cool that he has Daylight in here. I don't think I told you. He's like known for being like a legendary battle rapper.
I read that somewhere.
Yeah, his videos are on YouTube and stuff. And he's usually not in songs like this. Yeah. But he is obviously great at rapping. You can hear it like in this song.
Yeah, I think that's something that they actually brought up, is that between J. Cole and him, there's like they are sort of battle rapping back and forth, not as much as you would think.
You mean him and Ab-Soul?
Or him and Ab-Soul. Yeah, that they do have that going back and forth.
Ab-Soul has like a sound that like is pretty similar, or almost like battle rappy. I'm sure you heard it in this song, and then he was in that Schoolboy Q song that.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. All right.
He was in Foe.
Okay.
And
Food. Yeah.
And yeah, I know he has this like style of rapping that feels a little battle rappy. It's like off kilter.
Yep, I liked it. I definitely did like it. I was telling him what hit with me. Again, lines. I normally don't talk about lyrics, but there were just so many great lines I felt that he had. this song itself, I feel was more about spirituality and getting to know who you are as a person, as opposed to I'm better than everybody else or I'm the top of the hip hop world. So it kind of brought him back down a little.
Yeah, well, even pi, like that term in math is kind of like, like a meeting of points or whatever. So,
right.
It's like a center point for that everyone
so many
knows.
Things, right?
Yeah.
And it's infinite, just like your spirituality is infinite.
So that is a reference to like what they're saying in the song.
Oh, didn't catch that part.
I really like the sample that drives this this instrumental.
Yes.
Really cool. It's like an old, almost like Al Greeny, jazz R&B.
Yep, definitely.
I looked up the song and I would have listened to the song.
Yeah, it was very Al Green, very 100%. So I said, to me, the great lines were, it is a room full of mirrors or a room full of Motown. And to me, it's like I said, it's self-reflection. Like he's looking at himself in the mirrors.
Cole line?
Yeah, he's looking at himself in the mirrors like, who am I and where have I gone and where am I going? But you said he does this, but I didn't know this. But I really heard this in it. So he has so many name drops in this song.
Yeah.
It's crazy. So the ones I found were Zordon. And I don't know, do you know who Zordon is? So no. Zordon is a wise galactic wizard who fought for the side of good against the forces of evil.
In what?
I think it's like a anime kind of thing.
Oh.
Yeah.
Okay.
So he mentions Zordon right in the beginning. Then he talks about the Matrix, the theory that the Matrix ain't a lie. He talks about Batman and Ben Affleck to beat Ben Affleck as Batman. He brings up Malcolm X. To me, I thought what was really cool is he brought up Gilgamesh, because being a teacher of ancient history, Gilgamesh comes up during the time of the Sumerians. So I was like, dude, you know your history on this one. He brings up Dumbo. Chris Breezy, who I had to ask him who Chris Breezy was, and it's Chris Brown. Cam Reddish, who is a Lakers player.
Yeah, I don't know if he's still on him.
But... Yeah, but him, and then he brings up Jumanji. So I'm like, okay.
So I'll say a quick thing that's a little interesting about this. So on Future's new album, one of the reasons I think this whole beef with Kendrick was marketing. Mm-hmm. J. Cole's featured on it, and he has a line in there where he's kind of talking about I'm a conscious rapper who kind of dove into this what beef and stuff for fun, but he usually runs from that kind of stuff. Okay. He kind of says that in that song, which is true. And a lot of the rapping on this, even though it is full of references and good lyrics, is not very what he usually does. I've been saying, it is a lot more braggadocious and to the point than what he's known for. He's known for this kind of lyricism. Okay, yeah, it was just wow,
and it's a lot
different.
Yeah, and and the thing is, he didn't just drop them; he connected the story of them all together. Yeah. So I thought that was really cool.
He usually does that kind of thing, and he does it a little bit on this album, but not as much as I would expect. Okay. So yeah, that's Pi with Daylight and Absol. I really like Absol and Daylight's part 2. Yes. How they're going back and forth. Yes. That is pretty cool.
It is really good.
The last song that we picked is 7 Minute Drill.
Might delete later.
Yeah, which has already been deleted.
I told him, I said, so I downloaded the album. Yeah. And then I'm like, but wait, it's not on there. I didn't know you could take it off an album that was downloaded already.
Yeah, apparently they can.
Yeah. Yeah. Yep.
But, so a few days ago, J. Cole had a festival, and he said on stage that he apologized for slandering Kendrick, and everyone's all right, man, that's weird,
right, because when you
just do it,
like you said, was this planned? Was this a planned thing? Because if you did it in the moment, you meant it.
It's not like he says anything that mean. No, he kind of says one of his albums was boring, and one of his albums was whatever, and
right. But again, when you say it in the moment, you mean it. So...
7 Minute Drill is straight up at Kendrick.
100%.
The lyrics, almost every lyric is.
Yep.
And he's referencing his music and stuff in it. Mm-hmm. and even like kind of like name drops a couple people. So
Yep.
it is a straight
Yep.
up song at Kendrick.
Yep.
But I don't think that like his lyrics are that harsh. I think they're
No.
good.
No.
But it's not like when Tupac was talking about like, you know, having sex with Biggie's wife and stuff. You know, like this isn't like that. Or like
it's like a autobiography.
or like where Pusha T like revealed that Drake had a kid with a stripper.
Oh, that's
and,
right.
you
That's
know,
right.
like this isn't. You
Yeah.
didn't say anything
Yeah.
like that.
And now suddenly you see his child everywhere with him.
Yeah, I mean, good on Pusha T for
Yeah.
getting Drake to like be proud of his kid,
Yeah,
but that's a
exactly.
different thing.
Yeah,
but,
different. Yep.
But yeah, no, like he like kind of references like his career. I'm like, you didn't say anything like that mean to like. It's
No,
not like he made fun of
no.
his mental health or like
Right.
his gambling addiction or
Right,
whatever.
right.
Like,
So it's like you said, was this done just to promote him, and then you said possibly Kendrick Lamar might be coming out with an album or
well,
something?
J. Cole's supposed to have like this big album come out soon.
Okay, so is this just a way
promotion for that.
for promotion to
And
it?
maybe Kendrick has something coming out soon too. Like there's a chance
That's
of
the way they're
that.
going to do it. Speaking of dissing, you told me that in Drake, you said Drake has something that's out there on the internet too.
Well, no, like all these on the new Future album, like 8 more people were on it dissing Drake, and then Drake like dissed all these other artists in a leaked diss track, which apparently is real, and then Rick Ross responded to that. So like, I don't know when this actual Drake diss track is supposed to come out, but Spotify put a billboard in Times Square like
No.
of Drake saying like rap is a competition. So
It is.
it
is.
So it is. So this diss track is real and it is going to come out. And he's like name dropping. Like he says Abel, he says Kendrick, he says everyone's names in this song.
Wow,
Which-
that's harsh.
Yeah, I think it's cool. I mean, Drake won't back down. That's
No,
for sure.
no,
he never
won't.
will.
The fact that they put up that billboard in Times Square,
Yeah,
that's quite
well,
something.
He has power. Drake has more units sold than like the next like 4 or 5 rappers combined, and Kendrick would be in there. Like they're not even in his
Oh yeah.
level
Oh
at
yeah.
all.
Yeah. Definitely.
And that's just a fact.
Right.
Regardless of like how much you like those artists more than him, that's a literal fact.
Right. When you
So
put
he
it all
has
together.
he has the influence.
He does.
But yeah, that was a side note on like kind of all this rap beef, which is ties into like J. Cole's rap beef with Kendrick.
Yeah.
But anyway, yeah, those were our favorite songs from J. Cole's Might Delete Later. He already deleted one of the songs. Maybe the whole thing will end up getting deleted.
You never know.
Yeah,
You never know.
We'll see.
It's a great time. And then did he go into this album knowing he was going to delete that? That's just
that was the whole thing I planned.
Yeah, exactly. Quite something.
This video will end up being a time capsule of something that isn't out there anymore.
There you go.
Yeah. But yeah, I'll let you get into what you thought about this before I talk about what I thought.
So again, having never heard him, but having you tell me that he is a clear rapper like Eminem.
I mean, I would assume that you would have like heard of him.
I've heard of him.
Yeah.
I don't recall ever hearing his music, but because he has that clarity, that's something that pulls me in right away. And as I said, I haven't really talked about lyrics in a long time, and I think because of his clarity, it really drew me into very specific lyrics that he was throwing out there throughout the songs. I liked, like you said, the one song "Sticks and Stones" that is more J. Cole-ish.
Yeah.
I like that, and if that's the way he is, that if that's how he normally is, that would be something I'd be more interested in getting into.
Yeah.
So I would say overall, I'd probably give this like a 7.5.
Okay.
Just because I kept going back to it. I mean, it's
I'm sure you can recognize it's a little scattered.
Yeah. But I mean, I didn't know if I would give it that much high of a score, but yeah, I liked it.
Yeah. So, for me, I've seen a lot of people say this online. I feel the same way. This might be like J. Cole's like worst project.
They're
I've heard.
saying that. They are saying
that doesn't mean it's bad. That's not a bad thing. He's still J. Cole, but it's almost unfair that you have to compare his stuff to his own stuff because there's no one that's like him.
Right. The majority of when I was researching it, the majority of the people are like, might delete later, delete now. That's
Yeah.
what I kept saying.
Well, because it's like I would rather just listen to some of his other stuff.
Right,
Which,
right.
I honestly gave this like around like a 6.
Wow.
Like I don't. For J. Cole, it's not that good. For rap music, it's pretty good.
Okay.
But
okay.
you have to compare him to himself, which is unfair. And
right. Which I don't know his old self, so.
Yeah, if we listen to like one of his like other albums next week, I bet like you would like give this one like a 6 and give that one like a 9.
Okay.
Like, that's the thing.
We'll have to come back to him then for sure.
Yeah, we'll come back to him soon. But I think there obviously are moments on this that I like. I like Pricey. I like Fever. We didn't mention, I think it's called HBK or something.
Yeah, something like that.
Or HBC.
Yeah.
I like that one too. Like, but they're I like the songs that almost like stick out because they're not as like, I don't know. They're not as like with like the braggadocious tone, which is also sets me off a little bit because that's just not what I listen to J. Cole for.
Right.
That's what I listen to like 2 Chainz for.
Okay.
You know, and he has a different style of voice that fits that kind of music a little more.
Right, exactly.
But yeah, I think Might Delete Later is all right. There are some songs on it that I do like. But I'm excited to show you more J. Cole, to show you. And hopefully his new album comes out soon. And I'm sure, like, if it's, like, an actual album, it'll be a lot more, like, put together than this.
Right.
This doesn't feel super put together to me either.
Right.
It doesn't flow super well.
We mentioned that.
Like,
yeah,
you'd even listen to, like, 21 Savage feels a lot more, like, put together as far as, like, the flow of the record goes than this.
Right. Like you said, maybe these are just songs he had and he just
put it out. Threw them on. Yeah. Which I respect that.
Because he wanted to put 7-minute drill out there.
Yeah,
maybe that's why.
And he like he had to put together a whole thing.
Right.
Yeah, I respect that. It's just not as good as some of his other stuff for me.
Okay.
But yeah, that's how we feel about J. Cole's Might Delete Later. I'm Joe.
I'm Joe's mom.
We're Eastside Vibes, and thanks for watching.
Bye.